Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, Chapter 58. When we last left our heroes, Code awoke Ada from her slumber. We learned a bit about Ada. She has two main powers, first being the ability to see everything that has happened since her birth. No matter where she is, she can kind of see everything in the world, but only going back to when she was born and nothing in the future. And her other power is to charm anyone she comes into contact with besides Otsutsuki and blood relatives. So part of her motivations is wanting to find an actual love, and she thinks that Kawaki, who's mostly Otsutsuki, can do that for her. Okay, sure. Either way, she and Code are in an alliance now, as their goals are mostly aligned for the moment. Meanwhile, Naruto had a Kage summit, to sort of explain everything that's happened with killing Ishiki, the threat of Code, Boruto and Momoshiki. Naruto says that he will be able to kill Boruto if it comes to that. Hopes it doesn't, but if it does, he can. And then he has a meeting with Amado later, where Amado presents him with some meds he designed to suppress the Byakugan in Jigen / Itsuki. And that may, if it works out properly, be able to suppress and stop the advance of Otsutsukification in Boruto. So that's where we leave off going into this time. So let's jump right into Chapter 58, The Right Job for Idiots and Bastards. And we have this color cover of basically every character who's still kind of relevant in this arc. Kawaki and Boruto in the front, Naruto and Sasuke behind them, Code, Ada, Amado, and Shikamaru on one side, Shikadai, Chocho, Mitsuki, Inoji, and Sarada, and Sumire on the other. And we still see some of the particular design sensibilities of Kishimoto that have frustrated me from the beginning. Hello, Sarada's ninja heels. But you know, it's a nice cover, all things considered. It really does set up that we're moving into a new chapter of the story. Anyway, we open at the Uzumaki household. As Boruto says, meds that suppress Otsutsukification? Yeah. They were supposedly developed for another purpose originally, but if all goes well, we might be able to expect such an effect. An interesting note here is that Naruto is seemingly hiding the fact they could suppress the Byakugan. He says another purpose, rather than, going into a bit more detail. And given that, 2 out of 4 people in this household, or 5 now with Kawaki, are well-known Byakugan users, it's kind of curious that he's not forthright with it. Like, if Boruto knows, he could know to keep that from, especially try to keep that from Himawari. Not that he would try to feed it to Himawari, but, be extra careful with it around her. Interesting thing to note, maybe doesn't mean anything. Anyway, Boruto picks it up. For real? I won't become Momoshiki if I take these? But Naruto tells him, they'll only suppress its advance. They won't get rid of karma. Nor will they reverse what Otsutsukification has already taken place. So Boruto opens the bottle, and dumps it on the plate, and kind of looks at it and smells it. No particular smell to him. Naruto explains, plus there's this. The most problematic thing about them is that we have no idea what kind of side effects they may cause. Worst case scenario, there's a chance you could even die. And Boruto just, looks at him, kind of stunned. And Naruto continues, so I'm not gonna force you to take them. They'll just be one of your options. You get to decide for yourself, so think it over carefully. And Boruto kind of examines it, and just pops it into his mouth. He's his father's child right there. And Naruto's sort of stunned. No real taste, either. Can take him dry. How many a day? And Naruto just panics. Hey! Were you not listening at all? Naruto, don't get too upset. That's the exact kind of thing you would have done at that age. And Boruto counters, I was! Didn't you just say that I get to decide? Don't suddenly yell like that, Dad. I also said think it over carefully. What's with the flash decision? And Boruto responds, it just happened to be quick. I mean, we won't know their effect, or if they even have any unless I try them out, right? I mean, he's not wrong. They were never going to get to an answer except by this. And Naruto's just sort of stunned. You... Never mind. Well, you don't feel sick or weird at all? Boruto tells him, so far, no. Besides, Dad, I realize it might take someone time to find their resolve, but in my case, I've been preparing for the worst for a while now, in terms of karma. So I'm already there. That's a heavy thing to throw at your father. I've been prepared to die for a while. Okay. And Naruto is understandably stunned. Boruto looks up at him. That's why I was able to decide really fast. That's all. I'm sorry it freaked you out. Naruto looks at him. Boruto? But thanks, Dad. I'm grateful for these. I guess he walks off as Naruto watches him go. Sheesh, you little... And then somewhere else in the village, we cut to Kawaki, who asks, meds? You're taking meds now? I guess Boruto has told Kawaki everything, and Kawaki doesn't seem particularly pleased with the idea. I think maybe Kawaki was kind of really anxious to just kill Code, and Boruto shutting that down has not exactly made him happy. But Boruto tells him, yup, there's risk for sure, but I waited and decided for myself. Mitsuki is also there, watching all this. And Kawaki kind of counters, you've gotta be kidding. What about the plan to implant your karma in Code's body? If you end up dying before we get to fight him because of these who knows what, it's all a wash. Okay, so yeah, part of it is Kawaki really does. So Kawaki clearly wants Boruto to implant the karma into Code. And what I'm thinking about is what is his exact motivation for that? How much of that is this seemed like the safest way to save Boruto, and how much of that is this is the simplest way to kill Code? Because Kawaki is no friend of Code, obviously. And so I'm curious, we know at this point, Kawaki clearly cares for Boruto, and a part of it is he thinks that this is a safer route for Boruto. But also, how much of it is more selfish, is what I'm asking. But anyway, Boruto responds, I thought that was just a hypothetical of yours. Excuse me. There's no guarantee that it'd even work. Look, I don't know how strong this Code guy is, but we have a chance to win against him the normal way, don't we? And Sarada is also there. Both of you! Quit yapping already! And we get a bit of a zoom out, and they're all in this sort of meditative pose. We're here to train, so shut up and focus. And given the size of Sarada's skirt, I'm appreciative of her choice of sitting pose. Because the rest of them are all kind of sitting crisscross. And she's kneeling because Kishimoto cannot put her in decent clothes to save his life. Anyway, we see Konohamaru and Naruto are watching from a distance. Konohamaru comments, sheesh, Kawaki pretty much has no team spirit. And Naruto kind of watches him. But Kawaki continues the argument, not really cowed by Sarada. I thought I was clear. We're no match for Code. And that's why we're training, so that we can get even a little better. And Sarada snaps at them again. Alright, you two, that's enough. You're both disrupting the training. And Kawaki is a lot... I thought he kind of developed past this sort of lashing out at everyone. But he says, why don't you shut it, Sarada? What's the point of sitting in place quietly anyway? Maybe part of it is that he has the training they're doing to Kawaki, who has no real... His whole idea of ninjas is seeing, the fighting. He has no sense that what he's doing is relevant to his training. But Sarada tells him, it's an important chakra control drill. A real basic one. Yeesh, acting all bossy despite being a newbie. And Kawaki snaps, look, basics are good, but how many years are you planning to drill to take Code down? 5? Maybe 10? What a joke. And Boruto lashes out, hey, are you putting down shinobi training? Let me remind you that you're the one who asked to learn ninjutsu in the first place. And Kawaki responds, I'm just saying this inefficient. It might be tradition or something, but you need all the time in the world. Mitsuki is just sort of been silently listening to this argument this whole time. Finally says, So Kawaki, what do you suggest? And Kawaki looks at him for a second before rising as he answers, Something much simpler that I think you'd all like too. And then he just extends his arm, which has been repaired, as I recall. They're able to fix his arm. It's his original right arm. Extends it towards Mitsuki, and Mitsuki sort of does his little, like, snake arm, and binds it up, and Boruto, like, jumps back, whoa! And Kawaki sort of severs his arm, and Boruto snaps at him, hey, what the heck? And Kawaki looks at him, nice block, Mitsuki. You got promised, just as I thought. Mitsuki grins, I see. Trained through actual combat. Personally, I could go either way. And Konohamaru, like, jumps onto the ledge he was watching on. How dare he? And Naruto cuts him off. Just keep watching, Konohamaru. Konohamaru looks at him. Lord Seventh. And Sarada reacts, stop making decisions on your own. Have you all forgotten that I'm the captain of this team? Here's a question. How does Konohamaru feel about that? Because they made that decision in, like, the crux of the Boro fights, right? Where they didn't really have the time to sort of make sure Konohamaru was fine with Sarada becoming team leader in the long term. But here she kind of is the team leader. I don't know. Anyway, Kawaki ignores her. I was honed by Jigen ever since I was a little brat. Most of his lessons were grueling combat drills. Every waking hour was hell. I wished I were dead, but that wasn't possible either. I eventually started thinking that I really wanted the strength to kill this bastard whose face I couldn't stand. So yeah, this is definitely a lot edgier of a Kawaki than we've seen lately. Like, the kind of bond he was showing with Boruto in the aftermath of the Ishiki fight is sort of not as present. And maybe it's just he doesn't get along with Sarada and Mitsuki as well. I don't know. I really like Kawaki's development. It's one of the best parts of the manga. And it sort of kind of feels like a backpedaling. And I can't help but thinking, is this, this kind of the first, like, Kishimoto got back to the writing mid-Ishiki fight. And so that might have just been sort of following along with, like, I mean, I know he was like head like supervisor, but still kind of following along with Kodachi's ideas. But now we're in a new arc, and this is sort of Kishimoto's view of the character, which also maybe Kishimoto came up with that original flash forward, and this is Kishimoto kind of trying to, make Kawaki sort of adversarial again to lead into that flash forward, which I'm not big on. I don't know. There's just something about this that's sort of rubbing me the wrong way. Anyway, and that's when I started rapidly improving. So even though Jigen was a total bastard, it turns out his methods were actually rational and made sense. I mean, I guess. Anyway, Kawaki reforms his hand from the whatever that thing is called, that Mitsuki is still holding, and then transforms it again and lunges at Mitsuki, who quickly lets go of the severed Kawaki hand. And Sarada snaps, that's pretty extreme logic. Are you really that dumb? And Kawaki tells her, stop whining and come at me. Enemies don't just wait around, And he lunges at Sarada. Sarada jumps over him. Alright, I'm pissed. You're gonna regret this. And she shoots a fireball down at Kawaki. Boruto calls, hey, Sarada! And Kawaki defends himself with his, whatever the fuck that thing is called, like extension? The shield thing? I don't know. And as the smoke clears, Kawaki is already separated from it and dashing away. Sarada notices that, and throws her shuriken. I do like, though, Kawaki clearly trying to use that sort of ninja technique of moving while the opponent is distracted by the smoke. It doesn't work because Sarada catches him real fast, but it still is a good idea. Kawaki gets hit in the arm. He doesn't transform with it, is the thing. Shocking Sarada. What? And Boruto reacts, hey, that was easily blockable. Mitsuki is also kind of stunned but silent. Kawaki hits the ground and rolls. And disappears. It was a shadow clone. And he reappears right behind Sarada, going for the strike. A shadow doppelganger. And it comes for Sarada, the blade. And Boruto catches it in his kunai knife. I've been complaining about Kawaki seeming backtracking in development, but Boruto still has that fight choreography down. This is some good, physical fights. And Kawaki sort of glares at Boruto as Boruto tells him, "That's enough. What are you thinking?" And Kawaki tells him, "Chill out. It's just sparring. No one's gonna die." Boruto tells him, "You're the one who's too serious. Why are you so flustered?" But Kawaki reacts, "Huh? Me flustered? I mean, I don't know. I want a bit more detail there, which I'm assuming we're going to get. I'm not. That's not a criticism at all. But I do want that detail." Sarada asks, "It's no use talking to him, Boruto. You need to show him by force." And Boruto cuts her off. "Sarada. Okay, but don't butt in, all right? He's mine." And Kawaki sort of glares at him. And Sarada just snaps, "Hold it, you two now? What is going on here?" But Mitsuki just responds, "In short, whoever loses has to stick to the winner's way. Isn't that it, Boruto?" And Boruto tells him, "Yup. If I lose, we'll keep training through actual combat. That cool with you, Kawaki?" And Kawaki looks at him. "Huh. Sounds interesting. I'm in." And Konohamaru just watches in the distance. What the heck do they think they're doing? And Naruto is just kind of calm, waiting to see how this all plays out. And Boruto, cracks his knuckles. "Listen, a promise is a promise. No arguing if you lose, got that?" And Kawaki walks forward. "That's my line. You better not forget your own words." And Sarada watches them and says what we're all thinking, I think. "Yeesh, I'm surrounded by idiots." Mitsuki quietly watches the fight as Boruto and Kawaki approach each other. And Boruto looks at him. "We used to fight like this every time we saw each other. Back when we first met, remember? I recall that you were generally the cause." So there's at least a development, an acknowledgement of their development. That they are no longer at the point where they fight every single time. Doesn't quite change the fact that they're still fighting right now, but it is a nice acknowledgement. Anyway, the two of them just get right up in each other's faces, staring each other down. "Here I come, bring it." And they just slug each other right away in the face. And while he's doing that with his left hand, Kawaki summons his whatever it's called, and lunges at Boruto, gets out of the way, and Boruto goes straight for Shadow Doppelganger Jutsu, who all try to take a hit out of Kawaki. He seemingly dodges all of them, and destroys one of the clones. But behind the clone is Boruto, already forming a Rasengan, as Kawaki sees it and kind of reacts. But Kawaki shoots him with a sort of extension thing, and Boruto poofs away, another Shadow Clone. And Boruto runs at him, "Damn it!" And Kawaki kind of lands, transforming from the blade form into the sort of weird arm one. And from it, he readies a beam or an energy attack. I think that's what he used to kill Garo, as I recall. It's been so long since Kawaki had this power after he lost his arm, that I don't remember a lot of the details of it. Thankfully, I've been watching the anime where it's only recently been lost. Anyway, Kawaki fires this giant energy ball at Boruto, and Boruto readies his karma and absorbs it, because that's now an ability that only Boruto has. Gah! Damn karma. And then Boruto gets ready, lightning style, thunderclap arrow, and he throws the lightning clap arrow, and Kawaki tries to karma it. I love, one of my favorite things in just media in general is characters, acting on instinct with something they can no longer do. There's a scene in Charlotte, which infamously becomes kind of a clusterfuck at the end. But after the main character's sister dies, and he's going to dinner with this character, and he goes to call his sister to say, "Don't make dinner for me," and he grabs the phone, and he suddenly realizes that his sister is dead. One of my favorite scenes in that show, and it's that same sense we get here, without any of the emotion tied to it, sure. But it still is nice to see, as much as Kawaki hated the karma, he knows that that was part of his ability. It's something he's used to using, and he's hit with the arrow, because he doesn't remember he can't absorb it, which is nice. And Kawaki is sent flying. And he hits the ground, goes rolling. Boruto lands. Everyone is just watching on as Boruto kind of or Kawaki kind of tries to get up. And Boruto walks towards him. Kawaki sort of looks away. And Kawaki looks at his hand. I unconsciously tried to absorb it. Does that mean I'm more dependent on having karma than I thought? Oh, I hope that doesn't lead where it might be leading. If we go with the flash forward where he has the karma again. Also, sorry if y'all hear my dog barking. Anyway. Like, is this going to lead to an arc where he tries to regain karma somehow? I mean, there's only one person who could actually give him karma at this point, and that's kind of Boruto. I don't know. I don't know how that's all gonna play out. Anyway, back to the action. Boruto walks towards him. I win. This time, at least. Any complaints? And Kawaki just sort of doesn't say anything as Sarada watches. Game over. I hope they'll stop being so rash now. And Kawaki, who again seems much more defensive than he's kind of been lately. Damn it. I can't let myself eat dirt here. Gah. And he looks up at Naruto. And I don't know if he's only just realized that Naruto's been watching, but he definitely realizes it now. Totally pathetic. How am I supposed to protect Lord Seven if I'm in such a sorry state? That's a nice addendum. That's a nice little addition to Kawaki's behavior that I think does do a good job at sort of justifying it. That he's no longer just kind of being an asshole because he's defensive. He assumes everyone's being mean to him, so he's mean right back. He's being mean because he thinks that like the training that Sarada is putting him through will not help him protect Naruto. That is his goal. His goal is to save Naruto. And that's nice. That's the good Kawaki. My faith is somewhat restored. How am I supposed to protect Lord Seventh if I'm in such a sorry state? And then Boruto walks up to him and looks down at him. There's one thing that's definitely changed since we first met. Kawaki doesn't even look up at him. I can tell what you're thinking now, more or less. Don't carry it all on yourself alone. Lean on us more. We're your friends. So yeah, I'm glad Boruto, even if he doesn't quite know exactly what Kawaki is thinking, he's not going to allow Kawaki to regress into who he was prior to joining the Leaf Village. That's that good shit. That's that good shit. I've done like a complete 180 on my Kawaki opinions over the years, as you can like watch those early videos and how like absurdly cautious I am towards Kawaki, how he just seems to be edgy for the sake of being edgy. And now that like we know more about him, he's one of my faves. His development is fantastic. But anyway, everyone reacts to Boruto's comment. And Boruto continues, you might be feeling responsible for Kara targeting Konoha and Dad, but that isn't really your fault. Either way, we can't leave bad guys free to do whatever they want, right? That's what shinobi do. You're like that too, aren't you? And Kawaki finally turns to look up at him. And Naruto comments to Konohamaru, well, look who's sounding all grown up. And Konohamaru looks at him. He's sounding a lot like you used to, Lord Seventh. And Kawaki sort of flops on the ground, like, props himself up. Whatever. And Boruto looks at him, and Kawaki continues, you know, big lines like that would sound better coming from someone a bit more reliable. There's that brother vibe. There's that good brother dynamic they had going on. And Sarada just sasses, can't believe he just said that. He lost. And Mitsuki responds, what a bad attitude. As Kawaki continues, well, it can't be helped. I'll stick with you a little longer. And with your way at doing things. But Boruto comments, fool. We're the ones putting up with you. Again, there's that brother vibe. As Naruto sort of watches on and thinks, go for it, all of you. And you may get a lot stronger. And Boruto announces, alright, let's resume training, starting now. Kawaki looks at his now karmaless hand, and clenches it. I swear I'll get a lot stronger, no matter what it takes. I hope that does not mean getting karma back, because that would be really bad. But next chapter hits June 20th. Okay, this chapter took a while for it to grow on me, as y'all could tell. My opinion on it was like rapidly changing just through the recording. But in the end, it turns out to be a lot of fun. Sort of a reacquainting. I mean, what I hope this kind of signifies is that while while the manga is not always really focused on Team 7 a whole lot, much as it has on, like, Boruto, Kawaki, the Uzumakis, Kara, like, in the manga, Team 7 was relevant for, like, the end of Mujina, the Ao arc, and the fight with Boro. And what I'm hoping for is that this sort of scene is going to be a sign the manga is going to be a lot more invested in Team 7 in a way that was normally kind of left to the anime. Also, something I noticed is that Kawaki is clearly not... Either Kawaki does not yet know that Naruto has been listening from the beginning of the training scene, or he doesn't really... He's not hiding the Boruto-fi code plan from Naruto. Because Naruto is clearly watching. I mean, we know he's listening in, because he's just good like that. And it makes sense that Kawaki would know that too. Definitely Boruto would, having grown up with the guy. So they're not really hiding Otsutsuki-fi code. So that's interesting to know. We don't quite know what Naruto thinks of it yet. But yeah. And so one thing I want to bring up on changing topics now, is what is the direct motivation for Kawaki's kind of standoffishness? Because there are a bunch of potential options. The one the chapter kind of settles on, or at least the one that Kawaki is most aware of, is that he doesn't think that with their training he'll be able to help Naruto. Especially now that Naruto is in something of a permanently weakened state. Kawaki feels that responsibility more than ever, especially because Naruto lost Kurama because of Kawaki. In Kawaki's own mind at least. So that's what Kawaki is most aware of in terms of why he's being so standoffish. What I'm curious about is there a more hidden reason, that not like a subconscious reason, not even Kawaki is quite worked out yet. Like, is he thinking, is part of it, Boruto's the med plan kind of stops killing Code as being the forefront of their plan? Is it that the meds might not work and Boruto could be killing himself? And so that's why it's kind of standoffish, and that kind of bleeds into how he acts to Sarada and Mitsuki. A lot of potential there. And I'm curious to see which one ends up being more right as we go on. Is he more concerned about the risk Boruto is taking in not going the easy way out? Or is he more upset that Boruto is not defaulting to killing Code? I don't know. Anyway, the Boruto-Kawaki fight is a lot of fun. It's a good sparring match. Again, I love the moment where Kawaki tries to absorb the Thunderclap arrow and realizes that he can't do it. I really hope it does not lead into him considering going for Karma again, especially with those meds. I can see him saying, maybe Boruto, give me Karma, and then I'll take the meds and stop it from erasing me. Maybe that's part of his idea. Possibly. I don't know. I hope not. But I could see the way the story takes that route. But yeah, the fight's a lot of fun. Again, especially since no one in Boruto really has the kind of god powers Naruto, Sasuke, and Madara, Kaguya, all those guys had near the end of Naruto. There's a nice physicality to the fights that was missing from late Naruto. And I'm here for it. I've always been here for it. I've been saying that for years now. But yeah, we end with Kawaki looking at his formerly karma'd hand and resolving to get stronger no matter what it takes. Which again, that line kind of worries me. Especially if we are supposed to take the flash forward as something that objectively happens and has not kind of been erased as the writers get different ideas. Which again is not a bad thing at all, I would argue. As a story develops, you might want to take it a different route, and if that's what the writers want to do, I think they should probably do that. But anyway, the chapter is fun, and I'm nervous, but also kind of hopeful for where Kawaki goes from here. And then yeah, they're so funny I also hope this does kind of signify Sarada and Mitsuki especially becoming more important to the main plot of the code arc. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for this video. Hope y'all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!